smell of incense. Love it. No, I'm not being sarcastic. I'm just wanted to talk about, was that correct? I just wanted to talk about, me no speak English. I just want to talk about what it's like for me wanting to always be this sort of childlike person. And I think this is why it ties in with my North Node. And I wanted to kind of share with you that, sometimes it's really scary, especially as you grow up. You can't be that child anymore. You can't be not only innocent and pure, but like you can't just be free-spirited. You gotta do this and that. Gotta restrict yourself. Gotta do this. And sometimes I just want to say, fuck it. I'm like, fuck all those rules. Like seriously, because I don't know about you, but it's like, it's not that I want to rebel per se, but yes, but at the same time, more like, just being able to explore and make my own mistakes and go from there. And that's how evolution works, right? Because we live in this society where we're brainwashed, we're conditioned to be like, you gotta do this, because otherwise your life will end and you have nothing to look forward to in life, and you'll end up on the streets and you'll be poor. And that kind of mentality is like in your head. And everybody's telling you, especially with the old systems, which is like, thank fucking goodness, it's like crumbling fucking down. Okay, pardon my French all the time here, but I'm like, take my fucking terrible book on you and hit you with the face and wake up. It can be frustrating. This is why I'm holding this. I forgot what this is called. Yellow calcite. I think for some of you, you know what this is. It's one of my favorite stones. It's sort of semi-polished. Anyways, it's like candy to me. I don't know about you, but when I see little shiny things, those telephone for people who are poor eyesight and they have huge fucking dial buttons, and sometimes they're clear. Love it. Reminds me of clear Jello. Well, I don't eat Jello anymore, but either way, Jello, agar, whatever. It's that sort of feel. It's chewy and soft. Anyways, I digress. So I wanted to talk about what it's like to be childlike. Actually, I've been doing it just right now. Just being yourself and just being coming from the heart and enjoying the moment. Especially because I wasn't just a moment ago, but 30 minutes ago, I came from the cold shower. My hands are always cold. I love the fact that this is the case because it keeps me awake, keeps me alert. I'm not lazing about, and it's okay to have that, of course, but it's when I'm doing this and you don't want to be watching someone who's all wah, wah, right? You want to be watching someone it's not really about the excitement, it's more about the energy. And that's what I'm learning again and again and again and again, to be more childlike, and things will just come through. And if not, this isn't the end, we learn. This is the purpose of being on this planet and being in this life, in this form. And it's becoming more and more apparent now for me. And I'm just you know what, fuck it, I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go with it. No matter the fear, no matter the obstacle, no matter whatever the fuck it is that the ego has created, or the unhealthy ego that has which has created. So, anyways, what else? Okay, so childlike. I want to kind of show you that wherever your child, literally it's called child, this asteroid. I don't know how big it is. I forgot how big it is. I look into my notes, but I think it's goodness sakes. I've been making this chart, it's my cheat chart of did I say chart? It has happened. I've made this chart where I've literally taken data from people, what they've done, and also the research done by NASA and all that stuff and all the good stuff, and I've combined it where it's not only the astrological definition of the planets or the planetary bodies, whatever they are, but also what they mean for me based on what I interpret from the myth. Because I'm at the same time, I don't know, I feel like when it comes to traditional astrology, or like not traditional, but the typical more conservative astrology, people have waited until, we usually just wait until that's the full cycle of that body, when it's gone full circle in all the 12 signs. But I find it these days, I find like more and more people, like especially astrologers, are literally, at the very least, giving a general idea why what that planet means. So I feel like the conventional conservative astrology rules, it's kind of starting to like, I don't know if you want to say collapse. Hello, Pluto in Aquarius, right? But at the same time, because like more and more downloads are coming through and more ideas are coming through. Even when I've done a lot of my research on this stuff, it's like things have kind of made sense. Like one little thing that I noticed, core, okay, core, amazing. I was looking into it and I was like, why did Philip Sedgwick say rhythm of life? Then I looked at the mythology and it kind of made sense how it kind of works around mythology and the astronomical data. When I say astronomical data, I'm not just talking about the data itself, like how far it is and how that behaves, how it behaves, and what interpretation we can get from that, but through numerology. And literally, I found that it's like, wow, the numbers coincide with the mythology or the belief of that. Like, so for example, like child there's no mythology behind it, it's just child, right? So, but core, I discovered amazing. Rhythm of life, so I thought, could it be one of the vocations of, because I like putting in vocations in my part of like there's mundane astrology, there's the typical astrology, there's all those things. I haven't done any sort of synastry on any of the planets. I don't know if that's going to apply somehow in the future. But so far, it's just on a mundane level. There's vocational, there's evolutionary as well. That's kind of short. But the one that's mundane, that's the one that's interesting, because mundane and vocational. And what I discovered with core is that first I put in like, okay, so if it's rhythm of life, doesn't that mean simply drummer? And then lo and behold, I was talking to one of my best friends, my closest friends, and I looked at their chart as we were talking, and I just wasn't interested. And I was like, whoa, their core is conjunct their like what is that? The midheaven. I was like, there's something about that. So I was like, okay. But looking at the transit, it was transiting their first house. So new experience. But guess what they were doing? They were going to the music store we have here. It's called Long and McQuaid. And they were learning drumming. And I was like, wow. Okay, if that's not coincidence, I don't know what it is, okay? So it was amazing because I was like, okay, it's making sense. What the fuck is going on here? So my interpretation, or at least the way I understood it, was like, okay, I just felt like I had to put drummer in there. So there's that bit of a download, if you want to call it that way. Like it was cool. So I've been trusting all that thing now. A little hard when I'm doing like when I'm full stomach, when I'm doing these things, when I'm doing my research on these asteroids. I'm still like I have so many asteroids to work with now, and I'm trying to complete the list of what they're like. For example, like vitamins, those are kind of tricky. I wouldn't recommend following my list per se, like in terms of like what vitamins should I have, but what part of I don't know. There's medical stuff in there, medical astrology stuff, but I was just like, I want to test it out first too. Okay, so but I'm just like building it and seeing what. Eventually, things are going to be adjusted, things are going to be changed. I'm going to edit some of the stuff, but I'm still working on a lot of it. But what I discovered for myself with child is at the very least my interpretation of child the asteroid. And because the reason I'm talking about child today is because I wanted to go back into that, and that's kind of the core of the Leo thing, right? And that's in my North Node in Leo, and North Node in Leo is the eternal child, and it's the path. But that also means, learning from the South Node, which is Aquarius, which means you're trying to learn from the technicality, the crazy, sort of like innovative, crazy, sort of out of this world scientific, alien-loving, mysterious, kind of like intellectual, science, sci-fi kind of feel. You know, Aquarius, right? Weird. Okay? So, but also stubborn. Don't forget stubborn. It is co-ruled with Saturn, right? Uranus, Saturn. Anyway, so the point is, I'm going back into that. And it's like, okay, well, what is it about this child? When I did my research, I'm just going to tell it to you right now. So I'm just going to type it in here. Unfiltered. So I've been using this one website. I forgot who it's by. I want to say Astrology King, but that's not the website. So what I discovered with child is like, child, pure, unfiltered, innocent love. This is what the website was saying. But how I come to see it is like, it's sort of like this desire to connect with source and spirit. Wholeness, unconditioned, basically, right? So unconditional love is part of that as well. There's a section here I usually put in with all of them, actually with all of the planets. It's called association. So basically like key words. So source consciousness channeling as well, but in a very natural way. You know, if you look at children, specifically like toddlers and babies, like they're there, they're present. And that presence is like that thing. And this is why I keep a picture of myself. Yes, it may seem narcissistic, but I'm embracing the gift of narcissism, which is acceptance of self. And I have a picture of myself here as a baby, and I was so cute. And this reminds you of the innocence and the purity that we all want to go back to, which is, it's part of that. It's just not the form. It's that you can see it. When I was a baby, I can see right away that it's not looking at something. It's literally like, just is. I don't know how to describe it. See, there's so many things that I understand that I can't put in words. If someone were someone were to kind of like, if I were attached to some sort of device and they kind of sense where it's like, what's going on in your head? How do you understand this? They'd be able to say it or verbalize it for me. But I can't really completely verbalize it, sort of, maybe. I don't know. The other thing about child is also something about expression and creativity. Okay, non-labeled freedom, not what we think freedom is. Optimism, high dimension energy. When I say high dimension, I mean source. Okay, whatever the level is of that dimension. Like, I just watched some videos with interviews with Matthias De Stefano, and he was talking about how we confuse dimension with realm. And I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense now. Okay, so dimension is perception. The realm is realm. But dimension is the perception of ourselves. That's why when we go into the fifth dimension, we're not leaving this, we're just having a different perspective on things. And it's going to feel like it's different for us. This is why now when I talk to people who are not, unfortunately, there yet, and it's okay, they don't understand what I'm saying. This is like, okay, I can sort of understand it because I was there before, right? We were all there once before. That's okay. Unless you weren't from the very beginning, like you were just all conscious from day one, like in this form. That's different. Okay. It's also the urge to be natural and authentic. That is that inner child. It's where we experience or re-experience unconditioned living. I'm going to put here unconditioned living and loving. So it's a little kind of vague to put it in those terms. I also just, but anyways, it's also awareness. It's like aloneness, so sun-like aloneness, where when you shine so much, you feel like you're alone, but it's not like lonely. Okay, because children don't give a fuck about those things. Babies are just like, they're just there, they're present. But number 8 is the one number that came up specifically because of the number. 4580 is the astronomical number assigned to this. There's something about what they do in the astronomical community that I don't know if they're aware of, but it's like it ties in with the description of that, like numerologically speaking, and the descriptions that come out based on how they name the asteroids and the bodies and planets, the centaurs, minor planets, dwarf planets, whatever, fixed stars, all of them. it's interesting. It's like, there's no such, no, it's not coincidental. I'm just like, what the fuck? It's just like, amazing, right? Anyways, the other one here is alternative designation that I found, 1989EF. Numerologically speaking, that's 11. And I noticed that 8 pops up quite often. Not quite often, but yeah, it's a big number. 11 does pop up quite often. 11, 5 as well pops up. 4 also pops up. So 11 would be the strong number here, but 8 is its main number. So 8 seems to be a lot about foundations or realism. The way I see it is like it's more about, according to numerology.com, I think that's the website. I forgot. It's called, for me, building means like foundation, meaning like your source, right? Realism, according to their definition, or the way they call, that's the way the number is. It's defined as realism, but it's, to me, it's like being in the present now. And when they said balance, also 8 is about balance. It's also, for me, it means wholeness. So naturally, when we're babies, when we're toddlers, we're already whole. We're just, so we're not conditioned. Yeah. And of course, 11 is a master number. So spiritual, I put in here dynamic, charismatic. So I don't want to say charismatic, but charisme, influential, magnetic. It's also a teacher, meaning not teacher like I'm going to tell you what to do, teacher as in teacher. And then channeling to superconscious. In other words, soul, angels as well. This is why babies can see angels. Babies can see guides. It's just like, right? Insight without analysis, spiritual illuminations, according to their wording. So basically connections. Connecting. Discovery date came out to be 5. The number was 5. Expression, personal freedom. Sensuality. When I say sensuality, I believe it's not just the sensuality. It's more like the connection, which is very much like Venus, but in a very connected way. Right? This has no motive behind it. So that kind of sensuality. Curiosity, adventure, of course. And a bunch of other things as well. I discovered this. There's also the medical part here. I discovered that, naturally it's the pineal gland. But I also discovered there's something about curiosity. I looked up, where is it in the part of the brain that deals with curiosity? That's very much a childlike thing, right? So, and I saw frontopolar cortex and intraparietal sulcus, but also the striatum and ventromedial prefrontal cortex. I don't know if those will really apply, but I've been doing those for different asteroids, and it's amazing. It's just, I don't know. It could be wrong. I don't care, but it's fun. And I discovered other things like metal that applies to that, like, metal for Saturn, for example, I remember is lead. But I looked up like what kinds of metals that are pure. I saw this list. I just typed in all of them because I thought, whatever. That's part of my Mars and Neptune in Sagittarius, in my 5th house. I'm just going to go whatever, just in case as well. That's a very Sagittarian thing, just in case, right? Minerals, boron, vitamins like iodine. It's not really a vitamin, is it? Iodine, either way. Iodine, turmeric. One thing I haven't really filled in with all of the bodies, all the planets, is musical note. I don't know how to discover. I don't know what to do with that one yet. The crystals, definitely there's a bunch of crystals as well here, colored, associated with them, trees, plants and food, so a lot of that list. So, mundane-wise, definitely children is part of that, innocence, babies, toddlers, preconditioned state, unconditional love in all forms, purity, genuineness. We're talking genuineness as in not the ego, like I want to tell you what's wrong. Okay. Genuineness is like just there. It's just your attention towards the body. Did I hear sounds like that? That's the body making sounds. Trust and faith, with grounded natural knowing or wisdom. Channeling, seeing the beauty in everything. Curiosity, of course. True freedom within. So it's not necessarily mundane, but I don't know what else to put in here. There's probably going to be a bunch of things added onto here, but I guess you could say unadulterated forms of sources, unadulterated sources. I'm going to put a question mark on that one. Undiluted liquids, maybe. Also question mark, I'm not sure. But basically, pure. Any sort of curious animals, maybe? Oh, of course, exploration. Right? Exploration, like traveling. Like sort of exploration. Probably especially like nature. Okay, that's it for now. Vocation-wise, it could be like a pediatrician is the first thing that came up. Nurse, daycare worker, teacher, or attendant, or more. Author of children's books, TV producer, director, writer, etc. for children. Midwife, it could be like you deal with children. A doula apparently helps with, it's sort of similar to midwifery. Medical and or spiritual healer. Elementary or primary school teacher. Child psychologist, psychotherapist, past life healer / QHHE or past life regression therapist. Regarding inner wound or wounded child. Right? Manufacturer or inventor of children's toys, anything with toys like for children, also diapers, okay, etc. Naturist, I'm not sure about that one, but yeah. Camp counselor or leader. That's the first thing that came up to me. Evolutionarily speaking, it's never healing from the wounded child. And abuse. Projection of your own abuse to children and or others, or on the opposite side, recapturing your childhood through forgiveness, acceptance, and growing awareness and presence. So, child actually ties in with angel in a way, because angel's pretty much similar. And nymph actually, as an asteroid, all three are very much like all very childlike. There's also Cupido, which I haven't done research on, but anyway, so that's child, and I wanted to show you where it is on my chart. Yee, ooh, waha, yoo-hoo, waha, hoo-hoo. Okay, here we go. Sorry. This is part of the weirdness that comes out, and I kind of don't give a fuck anymore because it's like, that's what it is. It's just fun. It's natural, and it's just, be like that. However you want to be. However it is. Okay, here we go. So, you can see here, you look at this list right here. Look at that. And they're all conjunct each other. The 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3 there is Adonis, Aphrodite, Phaethon, Daphne. Adonis, Uranus. So Artemis, child. Okay, what I'm focusing on right now is child, Artemis, sun, Pluto, Imhotep, and Pluto. You can already tell, like, it's a kind of, if you can tell, that Imhotep and Uranus have a lot to do with astrology. This is why I'm doing this, and it's why I got drawn into astrology. But I do it, I've been kind of processing it more, just sort of like in my own way first, and that's why I do it more like at home. It feels more comfortable when I'm comfortable. Okay, I can really progress in it. I can hone my skills. But with Pluto there, I believe that this is kind of what the gifts. If you look up Pluto, Matthias De Stefano, an interview with, who was it? With the Nexo level, we were talking, or was it with somebody else? Yeah, I think it was with him. And he mentioned how, oh no, there was this other girl, Intense lady, whatever her name is, I forgot her name. Intense lady, I don't know. I'll post a link below on the videos that I saw. Actually, here's what they talked about. They said, anyway, no, it's not there. What they said was, what Matthias was talking about with the whole like Pluto thing is that how this ties into the Pluto, why I'm mentioning it, is because Pluto is, apparently when we had before we had oxygen, we didn't have oxygen, we were, we're used to other things like, I forgot what it was, not oxygen, I don't know, but basically we got used to oxygen, but oxygen is plant-shaped, plant shit. So it's just like, it's excretion, right? So, but we adapted to, in our primordial selves, like, our earlier Earth centuries or millennia, organisms we made use of that oxygen and made it, we can make use of this shit. It's very Plutonian, don't you think? I mean, come on. Right, so, but it also ties in with the fact that he talks about the mineral realm. The mineral realm is the one that created, helped to create these structures. I'll post in the video, I'll add the video down in the description below. And I wouldn't say urge, I highly recommend that you watch that video. He talks about how near the beginning of time is like earlier, before humans even, like our evolutionary process as creatures on this form. In this form, he talks about that, and it's very, very Plutonian, which ties into what I'm trying to say today about Pluto being this energy of riches. We talk about minerals, right? Where do you find the dark? Matthias said, it's like, where do you find the darkest, the most precious things? Down deep into the earth, like close to the mantle, even further down into the mantle of the earth. Right? So that's where the darkness is. That's Pluto. That's also Nadir, actually. Right? Any sort of darkness, any sort of like enclosure, any sort of form of isolation, it's where you process things. The dark is where you process things. That's where you find the riches in. But Pluto, in this case, for me, it's like the whole, like the ego flaying and kind of renewing itself and like shedding of the ego, shedding of the ego, shedding of the ego, shedding of the ego. And I know how to work with that. Had I square Pluto Sun, that would have been much stronger, because I feel like squares are like these wonderful challenges that are like, it helps us to grow and really become aware and conscious of how to work with that energy. I mean, I love that the fact that I have a conjunction. It shows that I know how to work with that energy. Bragging aside, though, it's really about the riches, the wealth that I get. I was just talking to my parents a while ago, about 20 minutes before this whole thing, and they were talking about all these things, like, check what you have. And I know there's this concern for me on those things, but I feel like a lot of the stuff that I discovered with life, being human, I've always kind of rebelled against it. I mean, you look at just my chart, there's like Lilith. There's actually Lilith here. There's mean Lilith. There's the true Lilith. And then there's the oscillating Lilith. Conjunct both Sun, Pluto here, right here. It's really there. You can't see. I didn't show it to you, but it's there. And I even have, what is this one here? Adonis, Urania all the way to Daphne, conjunct that one too, is conjunct the actual mean, that's the one that's the true Lilith. That's the one where it is. The one that's conjunct Pluto for me is the mean Lilith, not the true Lilith. So mean Lilith meaning like, I forgot what it's called. Anyways, it's a different type of Lilith. The point is, it's that whole shadow thing, right? You're really digging deep and really like knowing how to work with that. But the thing about conjunctions is that even though we know how to work with that thing, with that energy. And that's what Stephen Forrest said. It's kind of like having a PhD, especially with the sun. If you have any sun conjunct any sort of body, it's like you know how to work with that energy. But the thing about it is because it's so close to each other, especially if they're opposing energies like Sun and Pluto, because one is here, one is way out there, it's like they're so different. So it actually creates a lot of tension. So even though it is a conjunction, so like happy, happy conjunction, it's not actually like any different. It's not that different from a square or even an opposition. So the point I'm making is that there's this richness that I've learned through digging deep into knowing more about myself. And I really I really recommend that you look into where your chart is. Just because you don't have Pluto Sun conjunction, it's like, oh, okay. A lot of times people will, how do you call this, praise or put on a pedestal the whole like, Scorpio, dangerous, ooh, blah, 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 blah. But people don't really want to, especially if you're like me with Libra. We just want fucking like peace. If you remember that line from Miss Congeniality, remember she was crying at the end? She was like, I really do want world peace. And that's true. That's fucking true. That's a Pluto Libra thing. Like really, really want world peace. Like want everybody to fucking get along. Like I do have it also trine moon in Aquarius. Hello! Right? So, yeah. So I understand where that's coming from. But the richness that's coming from this whole thing is actually made me kind of realize now, by playing from myself, like that ego shredding, the ego dying. And I experience it quite a lot. And I'm not saying that because I want to show off. I don't like it. It's actually it's very, very intense. Not as intense as before. Before it was like fucking intense. I just like wanted to. You have thoughts about suicide. You have thoughts about death. And you have thoughts about these things. It's very, very dark. But here's the thing. When you stick with it and you literally find the process to... sometimes you make mistakes. You say the wrong things and you probably also lash out at others. When you work on that stuff, sorry, I don't just mean you, I mean when we work on that stuff, when we work on our shadows, when we really dig deep, not necessarily looking for the outcome, but just really surrendering to the fucking darkness and really like letting ourselves grow through that and freeing ourselves from the illusion that it is dark, then it becomes this whole new, it's a transformation. It's like a fucking like revelation that you just know instinctively. At least for me it is, because the chart shows it that it's in the 4th house. So I'll link to the 4th house here, right? Nadir is 25 degrees, Pluto 21. It's like pop, right there. It's conjunct 4th Nadir house. So it influences more my 4th house than it is my 3rd house, which still does work in the 3rd house for me. Like I find it when I'm talking and communicating, Pluto is said to be where you go through things alone. You learn things by yourself and you grow through things. When I say grow, I mean like you turn into shit and become your own fertilizer and grow. Okay? But with child there in Artemis, as I was taking the cold shower, it actually just kind of came to me. I was like, oh, I'm one of those people, the wild child. Literally, the wild child. When I did research on Artemis, let me look up Artemis here. I discovered that Artemis is, there's a certain, it ties into the moon, and if you look at people with Cancer, they have a certain vindictiveness about them that they don't necessarily reveal. They kind of use humor in a way. It's very tied into the feminine energy as well. This is why the moon is the feminine, is it called female or feminine principle? Either way, it's some of that, the soul as well. Because it wants to be free. It wants to just, it's part of the universal sort of function of, I don't know how to describe it. It's just you'll know when the moon is there. You'll know It wants basic security. It wants that sort of sense of like, But with Artemis, it's more a little bit more specific. Diana is even a little bit more specific. But Artemis is inner nature. Artemis is all about hunting, nature, power within, kind of like Hecate as well. Determination to fight for personal values, according to what I see. The untamable, okay, uncontrollable, okay, wild and free sexuality. So that doesn't necessarily mean like I'm just gonna fuck everybody like me. Oh, okay. No, I mean my own sexuality that I need to preserve. You look at the myth of Artemis, he was like always concerned about purity. And that represents a lot of the whole, what we see in ourselves is like, it's like, I don't want to, sex is a very intimate thing. It's very vulnerable. So why would we do that? Why would we give over our power? Especially if I don't, I'm not interested. In fact, Artemis is like that for me. I personally, I realize this too, and I'm re-realizing this right now, that I don't like being pursued necessarily. Like, I like to be the one pursuing. Because I find that when other people pursue me, like other guys pursue me, it's sort of like, what do you want? What do you want? I don't know what you want. Like, they can't just be, it's just that there's no honesty behind it. That honesty is tied in with the purity thing, right? Because just like, they have to just be like, straight out, like, what the fuck do you want? And that's that is an ego thing, right? It can be like that. It's also tied in, by the way, going back to Artemis. So Artemis is also like birth, life, death as well, reacting to disagreements. I don't know what that is for. Innate competitiveness, yes. Yes, I get there's the ego that comes in sometimes, once in a while. But I've learned to really learn from that, right? Learn from that, right? There's sexuality as well, physically healthy. I like to be, yes, as healthy as possible, but I love food. Fiercely guarded about one's virginity. Yeah, I don't just going, it's not something that interests me. Top or bottom? I put it here, I don't know why I put it here, top or bottom. I don't know, something to do with that. I think for me, sexually speaking, I'm versatile. When I say versatile, I'm not saying that, because I'm a denial, I'm a bottom in denial, I'm a top in denial. No, I'm being versatile. Protective, perfectionist tendencies, highly selective of sexual partners. So fucking true. Puritan-like to others. Yes. Oh, that's where the cards, in the last post I had, that's where the cards came through. Okay. Puritanism. Okay, that's okay. I do have that. Dignity, trust, competitive edge, determination. So it's really that sort of Artemis thing, right? It's like, I know what I want, I'm confident what it is, here's what it is, I'm going to keep quiet. If you can't instinctively sense what I'm looking for, not because I'm looking for it, then you can't. I'd have to, it's kind of almost like the ego. It's kind of like almost like the sun, where it wants to be in control, but not necessarily in control. It just wants to be wild. It's part of nature. It's like, it's nature. It's the sense of nature. That's very Artemis. Diana is pretty much like that too, actually. In fact, there's a lot of the female named asteroids. They behave similarly. Circe is like that. Hecate is like that. Diana is like that. And Artemis is like that. The moon is like that. Okay, so there's other ones too. The other ones play on more of a stereotypical female roles, like Echo. Eos is kind of like that too. Daphne is kind of like that too. Okay, but those are that's part of the human thing. Anyways, digressing again. Okay, so besides a bunch of other things that I saw about Artemis, it kind of ties in. It's the wild child thing, that connects with the whole why I do this. But wild child connecting with like there's something about my interest with astrology, because it's like, it's not just like, there's the math behind it. No, I'm not in it for that. When I got into astrology, I thought it was like this sort of like this ominous sort of mysterious thing that just like, it felt like well, I'm gonna know the secrets of the fucking universe. It's kind of like that for me. And Imhotep there, it's just like this. He had this sort of inner guides, like this inner wisdom. Like I'm pretty sure he was connected. Whether he's real or not, that's not the point. The point is the energy is real. So it's like that whole thing where I feel like there's this sort of deep, innate connectivity through symbolism. I think this is why I got also very much fascinated with like foreign languages, because there's some sort of like, there is just this thing. It's a mystery. It's like fucking inner core, mysterious, ominous, transcendental, transformational, fucking galactic, intense, epic, fucking like this sort of inner power you have inside, and it just wants to come out. That's where also the child comes in. It feels like just wants to be free. So but of course, because of the history thing, this is why I've also put in here like the wounded child sort of thing, because my personal experience, right? Growing up, I didn't know how to feel safe. I didn't know, like I don't understand what's going on. I never understood how typical humans behave. I don't understand why they say this, but they don't mean it. They want this, but they don't mean it. That's the one thing. And that ties in with the Artemis thing. It's like Artemis, when you have Artemis in your chart, you gotta fucking mean it. Okay? So, not to be like too in your face, but that's what it is. It's funny because it's square my ascendant, you can see here, but I have Orcus conjunct my ascendant there. And Orcus is about integrity. So I always tend to feel, I've always had that trouble with my family. Like there's just like, what the fuck, you don't mean what you're saying. But now I've come to learn from this square, this wonderful square. It's like taught me to be like, don't expect integrity from people who will never give it. Because they're just not going to. You really have to learn how to really like just let that go. And let that go doesn't mean just like I forget about it and ignore it, because that's like resisting it. What I mean by let that go, I mean like just sit with it. Really sit with it. And it's through the silence that we get it. It's through the silence, it's through the stillness. Yes, physically speaking, silence, but also silence. Okay, so you notice I added here Sisyphus. I don't know why I did that. Something to do with childlikeness. I don't know what it was. But anyways, that's not pertinent. Going through this chart, this is my progression chart. As you can see here, a lot of the planets there. Child is there actually now with Urania, and it's in the 3rd house, but it's still in Scorpio. Child conjunct Urania, conjunct Aphrodite, conjunct Imhotep. So Imhotep, child, Urania. As far as Artemis, and through Artemis, Mercury and Uranus. Actually, there's Lilith as well there. Hadar as one of the fixed stars also there. So how I progressed through that is that Artemis has become for me more confident. It's no longer that sort of like Libra sort of feel. It's more of that whole, not just like, I don't know what I want. No offense to Libras, but it's like, I don't know what I want. I'm just always kind of like, at the time of my birth growing up, Artemis felt kind of like, remember she's about the hunt, right? She's about that sort of like, I know what I want kind of thing, but it was kind of like, no, I didn't know what I want. I would know what I want if I knew what you want. So it was always kind of like going with the honesty of people. I was always projecting that desire to be like wild and free and be myself and have that inner power and being able to be with the complete nature of myself and self, right? So, but now it's more like, totally okay with this, totally okay with the silence, totally okay with the loneliness, right? So, I love the fact that now I have Sun in, it's still in the 4th house. It's funny, it's in the 4th house, but it's in Sagittarius. So I'm more risk-taking, I'm more like adventurous, That's why I'm pretty much like I'm still definitely going to be tied in with and also drawn to foreign things, foreigners, languages, philosophy. This kind of ties in with still with astrology, actually. And mind you, while I'm doing this is actually my more in-depth effort to read my progression chart. I don't do progression charts that often, but it's fun because I'm not being sarcastic, but it's fun because it's just so fun. I don't know how to describe it. But I noticed that many of the, especially with Adonis, Imhotep. Okay, Imhotep specifically is strong conjunction square with Phaethon. So, Phaethon like risk taking. Something about recklessness. Okay, I actually finished Phaethon here. So associations with them is acting out or acting up, recklessness, boldness overzealousness, instinct over logic, goal without a plan, disregard for wisdom and rules, emotional manipulation or guilt, reputation is something to prove, self-assuredness or vice versa, suppressed or controlled zeal or enthusiasm, family shame, probably, fatherlessness or motherlessness, parentlessness, sacrifice or unintentional vitality, lack or excess of energy, teen rebellion, paternity test, depression. Associations, those kind of things, right? All in all, it's for me, it's like the urge to go for it. It's just go for it, right? Where we look for support in intuitive, instinctive choices. Number is 5, so it's, I believe, if I recall, 5 is, numerologically speaking, is that the foundation or something like that? I don't know, it's 5. Okay, 6 ties in with this one as well. Idealism, needing to find connection, family, healing, harmony, peace. Okay. So depression, inflammation, part of that as well. I'm kind of just skipping through much of these things. I believe that has to do with solar flares. I believe that Phaethon has something to do with solar flares on the mundane level. Solar science, global warming, climate change, climatology, evolutionary biology, geochemistry, extreme temperatures, terraforming, ice ages, droughts. On a personal level, I would say risking something about probably like general flares, like flare-ups. I'm going to add in here, like flare-ups. Because something to do with just like that whole extreme sort of thing. But it does tie in on a mundane level what I said earlier with you. I have a section here called associations, like I said earlier. But like, besides recklessness, it is that whole like just going for it, disregarding rules, overzealousness, instinct over logic. In my progression chart, you can see square Imhotep, right? And I think this is what I've been doing recently. Just kind of like fuck it, just go for it, and experiment. Especially because Phaethon is in Aquarius for my progression chart. That means just going crazy. Just like experimenting. Mad science. Just go for it. Whatever. Fuck the fuck away. Okay. Then I also have Sisyphus. This is why I believe I showed Sisyphus. Sisyphus is apparently the one who works hard at something with no gain from it, but learns patience from it or something like that. It's like that. He's the one apparently that pushed the rock up the mountain. That's Sisyphus, right? Here I believe there is that, this what's been happening. It now explains it, why I have this one. Sisyphus is not learning from being insecure with my own personal efforts that seem fruitless. like I have been a lot of dreams. 12th house is also kind of like your subconscious dreams, like your sleeping dreams. 9th house is like your dreams in the vision. But it is also dreams. I believe that 9th house and 12th house are kind of like... But anyways, going back to Sisyphus, it's like that retrograde, and Sisyphus is, in Leo, is doubting your own... It's like you want to have fun, but it's like, I don't know how to have fun. And I feel like that's kind of been kind of an issue with how I communicate. I have 3rd house. I have Imhotep in the 3rd house now. And so, specifically Imhotep, but also conjunct to Aphrodite, which is really, we know it's love. Let's just make it like that. We're not really talking about Aphrodite, but child is also there. Child, Urania, Artemis. Child, Urania, Artemis conjunction there, but square Sisyphus. And just being more natural with this. Sometimes like, but Urania is also about the sort of outer cosmic wisdom and intelligence, not just like Imhotep does. Imhotep is more about the visions. Yeah. Cosmic intelligence, right? So astronomy, it's very straightforward. Inspiration as well. She was the muse of astrology and astronomy. Mathematics as well. So with the childness there, it's kind of contradictory. The conjunct with child and also Artemis, because child and Artemis are more like alike, but Urania isn't, right? Imhotep and Urania right there actually is not like, here, I'll zoom it in. You see that? Urania right there and Imhotep right there. They're actually conjunct, I believe, through Aphrodite. So it's like being able to accept it, right? If I looked up Aphrodite right now, come on. Every time you look up control find, it's like, where are we going? I don't know where it's going. There's so many words listed on my notes here for Aphrodite that it says, I don't know where the fuck it is sometimes. If I just scroll, okay, Icarus, that's Mars related. Nemesis, Ganymede, Julong. That's Mercury though. I don't think I did anything for Aphrodite. Sorry, Aphrodite. Sorry, Aphrodite. La 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 la. Just to keep you distracted. Pele, Icarus. I guess I didn't do anything for Aphrodite. Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, I guess Aphrodite's out for today. The point is that, yeah, I've been having these blocks in my dreams where it's like I haven't been able to. It's kind of like most of my dreams have felt like the past few months, at least year, it has felt like this whole, many times where if it's not comfortable, it's like a lot of the dreams are me feeling like I can't get past a certain block because I'm trying to express myself and trying to be just really myself, but I can't because there's some sort of block. Like one last dream I think I had yesterday, I was like, you know, I had a dream that I was going to buy this like $60,000, not an SUV, it was like a sort of a 4x4, like a truck, but not really, like a Jeep or something like that. And then I was going to go get it, but I don't know if I did buy it or not. And then I told my friends, I had these two people that I was talking to, one guy, one girl, and it's just like, oh, don't worry, I'll be your ride. I'll be your ride. I'll help you out. And I bought something, and then they bought something. Then all of a sudden, I hear them leaving, and they went home, and I felt abandoned. I was like, whoa, right? But I also feel like that has tied in with my own birth chart, my natal chart, where I have child Artemis square, because I have Ceres square my ascendant, but Ceres is in the 12th house. So most likely in anything regarding nurture, and it's square these planets. It's square these planets. So in the progression chart, it still makes sense because Sisyphus is like, I feel like I'm making these efforts to be childlike, right? But it's not working. There's a block, or there's a certain doubt about it. That's the block. I'm doubting myself. So this is why I'm now honoring more of my North Node and just like making mistakes, go with it, fuck it all. Just like be present, be in the present moment. So I also drew up this chart. I forgot why I did this. Okay. There's something about, in my own natal chart, Cupido, Phaedra. Sounds like a drug. It's like, talk to your doctor before taking Phaedra. It might cause blah 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 blah. It's like one of those medicines like you see on TV, like ads for like this drug for like erectile dysfunction or something. It's like, what the fuck? Anyway, so Cupido here is square Mars. Okay, I don't know why I did this one. Phaedra. There was something I was missing. I don't know what it was. I saw like a trine, like a grand trine somewhere. I don't know. I'm not going to go into that one. But anyway, so child. Look up child in your chart and you'll see this is where you will either rediscover or relearn your own purity, your own innocence. And I feel like this is important because, especially in these times of like chaos, embracing the chaos, I have not, our natal astrologically speaking, moon in Aquarius. So I'm pretty much used to that sort of unpredictable energy because I have a Uranus and I also have Uranus. Conjunct, I have Uranus conjunct Mercury, which both square my moon and also Mars. So I very physically very sensitive and alert to energies, like loud noises and thuds and like bangs and all that stuff, especially when I'm sleeping or I'm just relaxed. I get viscerally affected by it. Anyone who out there who does, come talk to me, great. Right? Okay, so going back to that one. So I wanted to go back into why I was feeling this. Okay, so Aphrodite's conjunct Venus is just the same. It's pretty much almost the same thing. It's sort of similar, sort of different. Transformation of, I would say, more like love of myself. There's something about that I'm going to look into. So Aphrodite is attractive, beautiful qualities can be related to sexual attraction. Okay. So it's like Venus, except Venus is more about the sensuality. Aphrodite is more about direct, like beauty and love. Romantic love as well, more than simply that. Appreciation of aesthetics, comfort, and finer things in life. It's very much like Venus. Having high sex appeal, apparently, divine feminine, might develop, might manifest being in tune with your divine feminine. Sexual manipulation, arrogance, stature, ideals of beauty. So it's pretty much like Venus. Harmony as well. Okay, it's like Libra, and mediating conflicts, fostering togetherness in the workplace. When you combine Aphrodite and Venus, for example, you'll become a veritable magnet for romantic encounters and harmonious relationships. But because mine is transiting the 8th house, my own natal chart, it's in Pisces. It's I don't know what that is. I think it's a dissolution. It's kind of liberating myself from that need to be drawing any people, being more, but at the same time, I feel like it's being more confident with loving myself and being more open to the possibility that it's like, I am not alone. Well, I already know that, but it's more like embracing it, knowing it and understanding it and going deeper is totally, it's a process. I'm just going to say it's different, but it's actually more like a process. Okay. Now I have child. We have child in my 6th house. Actually, Pholus and Ixion right here as well currently. So I can see that's happening because I've been more recently. I've been more adventurous with like the way what I put in this body. Where I'm not. I have been eating, not really too much, more like there's times where I've had a lot more than I should have, and I do eat once a day. I just wanted to kind of just save time, but it was more like I realized that it was just, oh, okay, it's I could not only save time, but I sort of fasting, but not really. So, but I'm really just having fun with my meals, like what I put in my body and the vitamins I have. Like, I just bought these crystals, which I'm going to get soon. I don't know when. Tomorrow. I don't know. See? So the child thing is coming through. But child is in Capricorn now. So it's creating these foundations of like, it's releasing. I would believe it's a sort of a release and trust in the wisdom from within, that if you work hard at something, without forcing anything, that it's going to come out naturally. I believe that child is what's coming out here as. Sisyphus conjunct with Mars. Okay, that makes sense. Languages probably might feel like feels like there's no progress there, or there's no progress with any sort of attraction sort of thing, like what I go for. So in this case, I just need to be patient. Sisyphus teaches a lot of patience. She's like Saturn, a lot like Saturn actually. Again, because I don't have a lot of research on those, so I'm not going to go much into that. Adonis is conjunct, specifically Adonis itself, Urania, Aphrodite, and Phaethon, and Daphne. But because of the Adonis right here, it's like something about idealized love. I've still yet to work with these love asteroids, because some of them they all kind of share very similar aspects. But Urania, okay. Urania in retrograde. So I would say like questioning of information regarding any sort of technical stuff, the sciences, math, any sort of like attachment. Like I have been feeling that when it comes to these things, and more vitality wise, like okay, that explains it. Urania here has been kind of feeling like because it's in retrograde, I've been feeling like I have no connection. And through specifically even like physical things, like through the study of astrology, tarot even. But even though I have that, I still work through it, and you just keep going. Retrograde is one of those, it's a beautiful thing, because it's like literally, even though it's awkward, it feels like you feel insecure about a certain ability or a certain aspect of yourself. You keep going. Okay. We know that by April, this, people have been seeing this on YouTube, Jupiter will conjunct Saturn, Uranus eventually. 9th house is filling up. My 9th house is getting filled up. Daphne, Phaethon, risk-taking with, Daphne is questioning skills, or like your ability, or Delphine. Daphne is scared of commitment. How does that tie in with Phaethon? Risk-taking with Phaethon. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, there's this guy I'm talking to. I'm risking telling him honestly, which is Aries thing, what I want for myself, and being independent from that. There's a part of me that is afraid of that, honestly, but at the same time, it's more like, I told him it's like, do you know, I kind of wanted to really tell him, do you know what you want? He's like, do you want to be my boyfriend? Do you want to do, I was like, you don't just ask those things, but of course that's his thing, right? That's what he knows, that's his level of consciousness that he has, and that's fine. But I have to also acknowledge the fact that it's like, well, I don't feel comfortable being asked that question, because it's like, it's kind of like saying, do you want to breathe? You ask people, you want to breathe? Like, or it's you know, it gets technical and robotic. It's like, why? So that's his journey. I feel like I'm open to it. I told him, I said, I'm open to it. But you know, he doesn't really chat. He doesn't really talk, and he's asking these questions again and again. So if you're asking that, it's like, I told him, it sounds like you're doubting yourself. And it's just like, it's okay. It's like, you know, you can doubt yourself, but I think he has his own journey to take that he has to, I don't know. Okay, so that's not my concern right now. My concern is where I'm going with this one. Call me narcissistic, call me selfish, whatever. Just, it's healthier to work on yourself than to rely on others, because otherwise when you lose yourself in another person, you lose yourself, you forget yourself and you become just this resentful, bitchy, vindictive, and even highly more narcissistic person, because you're just like, oh, okay, it's all about me. It's like, no, because you're not addressing, you're not acknowledging and honoring your journey, part of yourself, and growing in that. How does one thing extend to the other without that? You know, it's not being whole, complete in a sense, like finished. I mean, like, why do you put others first? That's why even in grammatically speaking, you have first, second, third. There's a reason why. That's just something technical, but you know, in reality, there's a reason why the stars are there first, and then the planets create from that. It's a self. You know, there's an ego thing, but to have a healthy ego, it's taking that thing and growing with that. Right? A healthy ego knows how to work with itself. It knows how to work, and is very childlike. Right? This is why the sun is tied with Leo. It's being childlike is not childish, because when we're not with the ego, the unhealthy ego is childish. The healthy ego is childlike. So, anyways. I also have 4 degrees in Aries of Moon in there. Okay, conjunct, is it conjunct anything? I'm kind of lost here. I don't know what that is. Let's take a look. Mercury 3 degrees. Mercury 3 degrees. Moon is also 4 degrees. 14 degrees. Moon is 14 degrees. So right here. So Moon is conjunct. Moon is conjunct North Node and Chiron. Daphne is right here in about 21. Python is 23. Okay. So right here. Okay. Which actually conjuncts midheaven. So it affects my 10th house more. So, okay. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. People see me as like afraid of commitments, but I'm willing to just take the risk and just go for that, and because I'm more concerned about my personal freedom, right? Committing to that freedom in relationship. Daphne is about apparently like fear of commitment to relationships or something like that. That kind of makes sense. I'm not really into it that much because I'm more concerned about my own personal freedom and my own childlikeness and my growth and all that stuff. And we'll see where things go. What else? Oh, the sun is in Pisces right now. It's in the cusp of the 9th house. It's affecting the 9th house more than it's the 8th house, but transformatively it's transitioning. So it's in Pisces, so that means in a transitionary sign. That means things are about to change naturally. But for myself, I believe that it'll highlight my 9th house, so things regarding like languages or foreign things or different philosophy or new ideas, being creative with that as well, the creative process, that's the sun, right? I don't know, I'm getting bored right now with that one. So but that's it for that one. Pluto is still in Aquarius, age of Aquarius. Okay, Mars. No, nothing significant for me right now. Pisces, square. I'll get to those. Anyways, I'm done. Good. All right, let's see what we have for the charts. It's been a long video. You know, bear with me. Okay, I've cleared the air with the incense. I'm not going to shuffle these cards one more time. That side is a little thicker, but that's fine. It's part of the process. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that one wants to come out. Oh. Okay, I'm going to do that one more time. Two, three, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. I feel like that one. Okay. Oh, that one really popped up. Okay. I feel like maybe I should do something with let's go with this one, the love test. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That doesn't count because it's just randomly. Okay. Okay, that is 4, 5. 4, 5. Okay. 6, 7. Okay. My love goal. So this is my love goal. I'm using this spread called Love Test. My love goal, the world. Okay, it's upside down. I keep getting cards that are upside down. Okay, so I have the world, it's upside down here. I think I remember this one, kind of like something about direction fitting in. I'm not sure. Something about using your own personal skills or any sort of abilities that you've learned to be of service to what I have to offer. Page of Pentacles. Something to do with kind of like understand where I'm coming from. I can only offer myself as it is. I don't know what it is. Something about being by myself. I don't know what it is. So I'm good. 3, and then this one came out right away. Strength. Okay, what I lack is strength. More like confidence in myself. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. There's an eternity sign there, meaning like trusting the line, trusting your childlike self. It ties in with the Leo sort of energy. That it's okay to be risk-taking and that, death is only an illusion. 4 is what I don't want in a partner. Okay. Betrayal and confusion, not knowing what they want. The kind of everywhere, left, right, center. 5, what I do want in a partner. Well-versed, someone who's versatile, someone who's adaptive, something like that. I don't know, I'm probably just reading into it. I don't know. Wheel of Fortune, I got the 5th one. 6 is the heart of the matter. Feel like I got my one hand on one, but kind of leaving things behind because I'm kind of tired of it. Right? And then 7, what I can do to make this work. Finding balance, giving of myself, but at the same time taking, I don't know. 6 of Pentacles. Let's take a look. So, my love goal is the world. I'm gassy right now. Reward for hard work. Reward for hard work. Time for celebration of self and others. Feeling the world is your oyster. Traveling both physically and mentally. Accomplishing what you set out to achieve. Discovering a solution. Feeling at one with yourself and the universe. Yes. Because I feel like it should be more like it ties in with the whole like why people got married in the first place, because they want to be, it's like a trinity sort of thing, like, it's a union, not because of like I want you because I lack confidence in myself and you are the one that completes me, blah blah blah. No, I mean everything is already complete as it is, right? I mean, that's just like my knowledge speaking, right? But it's true. I mean, if you really process it, meditate on it, that's what it is. Number 2, what I have to offer. Setting the wheels in motion, looking for a wind of opportunity, know your limitations, wanting to be prosperous. Financial messenger, diligent worker. I have to offer. Okay, that kind of makes sense because I want to, when it comes to this financial messenger, it feels like it's not about tell people like, oh, this is how you save money, just more like what to do with it, because it is a tool. Probably I'm like, learning from how to manage money as a tool, as a sign or a symbol of freedom, is all about knowing what it is inside in the first place. So that makes sense. What I lack. This is the one that's funny. Because it's so true. Right? Facing a reality, take control of your life, learning to take responsibility for your actions, ability to forgive imperfection. Yes, being tolerant of others' faults. Yes, inner strength, awareness of your instinctive responses. Yeah, and not pointing fingers. That's why I kind of, with the guy I was talking about, it's just, that's his thing, that's, I'm doing my thing and that's totally fine. That's why I said I'm open to it, but I'm still going through my thing. You can't expect anything much from me, right? So, number 4, what I don't want in a partner is 3 of Swords. For those who probably already heard that and you are used to a tarot, it's like, yes, you know what 3 of Swords is. Getting to the heart of the matter. Triumph of logic over emotion. Torn between 2 lovers. Feeling hurt inside. Discovering a painful truth. Feeling let down. Feeling others that are out to hurt you. Being cheated on. Fear of losing your partner. Jealous imagining. Wanting to hurt someone emotionally. Yeah. I don't want in a partner getting to the heart of the matter. That kind of makes sense because it's like, I don't want him to be, yes, they want him to be honest, but at the same time, not in a hurtful way. He doesn't have to be that way. Right? You can be firm but kind. Firm but kind. There's a reason why we have that saying. What I do want in a partner, Wheel of Fortune. You ever watched that game? I'm sure many people have. Where's the Wheel of Fortune here? Oh, here we go. There is no certainty in life except uncertainty. Yeah, this is the one. Synchronicity and coincidence, the only constancy is change itself. Seeing patterns and cycles repeating in life. Feeling you are being swept along with the tide. Taking advantage of chance, opportunity knocks open the door. Unpredictable events. So synchronicity and coincidence, but at the same time being open to that. Yeah. Because that's true. Because if I can have that, then I can also be uncertain. I can wing it. I can just be free. I feel like that's the part of me that's still projecting onto relationship. Like I feel like, but I have to find it in myself. The heart of the matter, though, is 3 of Wands. Seeking new adventure, following up new clues, seeing how best to act, knowing what is going to happen next, having an open perspective, starting on a new journey, awareness of your intentions, knowledge is power, a sense of vocation. Yeah, a sense of vocation, going where I'm headed, but seeking new ways of doing things and being open to that as well. Yeah. Because I can't just do that with people, and if they're not on the same page as me, and it's just what it is. It makes sense. What I can do to make this work. 6 of Pentacles. loss and gain, giving and taking, shift and power, to have and to have not, domination or submission, seeking approval. Seeking approval but not relying on it, right? Because it's like you have to, it's a balance. That's why the scale is there. It's all about balance still, you know, the Libra thing. So anyways, I thank you for watching. I hope that helps, gives you some insight. But that's all for today. Namaste. I namaste go. I namaste go. Carney. I had this song that popped in my head earlier. I was like, it's so corny, no, so horny, just a porny. I don't know. Whatever, something fucking weird. Anyways, glad to be able to share this fucking weird stuff with you. I will see you guys later. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.